حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله السميع الأليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده والرسول صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وبعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الحدي حدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة دلالة، وكل الدلالة في النار. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام، وكفى بها نعمة. We say alhamdulillah for the blessing of Islam, and it by itself is enough as a blessing. The early Muslims, they used to say, من عرف نفسه فقد عرف ربه. Whoever knows himself can then go on to know his Lord. So inshallah, these are the two things that I want to talk about today. The consequences of knowing who you are, and then knowing who your Lord is. The consequences. So when you know who you are, you become aware of your weaknesses. You become aware of your defects. You become aware that you are faqir, needy in front of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He declared this in the Quran when He said, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ أَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. All of you mankind, you are all indeed in relationship to Allah. You are in utter need of Allah. And when you come to realize this, the outcome, well, you will be shakir. You will be someone who can be grateful to Allah. And ya ibadallah, one of the gifts of being shakir, of being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that you will come to know Allah intimately, not because of a book, not because of what your parents taught you, not because of what you heard on the minbar. Allah will bring you into His intimacy. And this is His promise. He will bring you into His intimacy. And then you will know you have to work hard to be near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why you were created. And the correct response when Allah gives you this gift is tawadu'a. You must be humble in front of Allah. These are your two outcomes. You must be grateful when you know who you are and who you are, who you belong to, then you will be humble. Humility will be your dominant trait. So, ya ibadallah, let's start at the very beginning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has declared in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 26, He says about Himself, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. He has created everything that is on the earth for you. For you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored you by creating everything on the earth to be in your service. And it begins as soon as you are a drop of fluid in the womb of your mother. That's when it begins. And in the womb of your mother, you are placed in a place of care and concern. You are taken care of. You know, the womb in Arabic is known as the rahm, the place that dispenses mercy. For you, Allah created that for you. And then when you're born, you come into this world, He places love and affection in the hearts of your caregivers. You would not be here in this jama'ah if someone did not look after you and take care of you when you couldn't take care of yourself. Allah did that for you. For you. And then He makes the bodies of the mothers or the caretakers to provide food for you automatically. As soon as you arrive, you have something to feed you, to take care of you, or someone through their labor to take care of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that for you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you begin to grow and get older, and you take your sustenance from outside of your caregivers, He made plants grow, and they're filled with vitamins and minerals that are beneficial for you. They help your brain to work. They help your organs to work. Allah did that for you. And then He made water available. Water. And from it you get refreshment, but you also get those necessary minerals that you need so that your nerves will continue to work. Your brain will continue to work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that for us. And then not only that, He made the animals that eat the same plants that grow on the earth, and they're nourished. So that when you slaughter them and eat them, you're nourished. You receive from them protein. You receive from them vitamins. You receive from them minerals. And more than that, you receive from them leather and milk and all of these different gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He made for you. And then as you get older, Ta'ala created for you mates, spouses, so that you can fulfill your natural desires. You can go on and find sakina, tranquility when you are with them. But when it breaks down, it usually breaks down if you cannot be grateful. If you cannot be shakir, if you cannot be grateful to your spouse for the situation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed you in, then it breaks down. My brother, I want you to just think about your spouses. They had your children. They nourished your children, either through their bodies or through their labor. They did that. And then she takes care of your household. And she takes care of your needs. And then she's chaste by keeping herself only for you. Atashkurun, will you not be grateful? Won't you be grateful? My sisters, you have spouses who will provide for you your houses. They will provide for you food and shelter. Or they may provide for you comfort and provision. Will you not be grateful? And there may be someone in the audience that says, I'll be grateful to Allah, but my spouse gives me so much headache, I don't want to be grateful to him. It doesn't work like that. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Man la yashkur al-nas, la yashkur Allah. If you cannot be grateful to mankind, you cannot possibly be grateful to Allah, because it is Allah who created the means. Allah created, He facilitated for you to be taken care of that way. So what do you owe? If you have all of this before you, what do you owe? Minimally, you owe gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Gratitude. It reminds me of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And you can find this story in Abu Layth al-Samarkandi's Tanbih al-Ghafilin. He says that a man came to the house of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And when he approached the door, he heard the wife of Umar ibn al-Khattab scolding him, chastising him. So he turned around to walk away. Umar was leaving the house, but at the same time he came outside, he saw the man leaving, and he stopped the man and he said, can I help you? And the man said, no, never mind, forget about it. He said, no, I asked you by Allah, what did you come for? And he said, I came to complain about my wife, but then I heard what I heard from your wife to you. And Umar ibn al-Khattab, he goes on to say, I bear with her because of her rights over me. And then he begins to expound on them. He says, first, she's my protection from the hellfire, and she keeps my heart protected from the forbidden. And number two, she's the keeper of my house, especially when I am far away. And she's also the protector of my belongings. Number three, she acts as a washer for me. She washes my clothes. Number four, she nurses my children. Number five, she cooks my food and she bakes my bread. And number six, then the man goes on to say, this was the same with me. In other words, my wife was giving me a hard time. And I could not be halim with her, having forbearance, just bearing and dealing with it. And then he said, but now I will let it all go. In other words, her scolding. I will let it go. And that is what the shakir does. Someone who, they overlook the faults of others. They accept their excuses, and they deal with their mistakes because they are grateful for what they have brought. They're grateful. If you needed reasons to be shakir, I gave you a few. You must be shakir. That's who you are. You must know who you are. Who you are. You are someone who owes a lot. So be shakir. Whose you are, you belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You belong to Allah. In the very beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have ennobled the descendants of Adam alayhi salam. We have, this is Rabbil Alameen telling you your maqam, your station. You have a high station with Allah. Won't you try to realize it? Won't you try to live up to it? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ. We created mankind and we know what suddenly moves in himself. We know. And then he goes on to say, وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. We are closer to him than his own consciousness. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying about you. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Wherever you are, Allah is with you. There's nothing that occurs to your heart, to your imagination, whether good or bad, except that Allah is aware of it. What is the correct response? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what the correct response is. What do you do? Make sajda and draw near. But you should know that there's a difference between outwardly making sajda and inwardly making sajda. You can bow down and put your head on the ground as much as you like. There's people that do it at yoga class all the time. But their intention and their state is not to draw near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you want from Allah? How are you going to fulfill your purpose? So you have Islam, that's outwardly. It's what you do with your lips. Istislam is what you do with your heart. Where is your heart when you are bowing down? You want nearness to Allah. You fulfill the conditions, Allah will give you nearness. And that is His heart. When you realize who you are, that Allah is with you wherever you are, He's closer to you than your consciousness, then you must become humble, mutawadi', someone who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them. He says, وَإِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. The true servants of the Rahman, the most merciful, are those who tread upon the earth lightly. Lightly. In other words, they do not oppress people. They do not cause people harm. They are constantly showing mercy to the creation of Allah. And that's why Allah said, Ibad al-Rahman. They are reflecting this state of mercy to all of the creation of Allah, whether they believe or not, whether they are human beings or not. You must become mutawadi'an, someone who their heart is filled with humility, and you tread lightly on the earth. You don't think highly of yourself, because whoever claims a maqam, I am this and I am that, Allah will take it from them. وَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't claim innocence or purity for yourselves. Don't make that claim. Only Allah can bestow that station upon you. It's not because of your work. It's because Allah, He wants to honor. He wants to elevate you. And it must come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَوْصِيكُمْ وأوصي نفسي, I advise you as I advise myself. اتقوا الله. Ya ibadallah, strive to be people who are grateful to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are grateful, He will increase you. He will increase you outwardly, and He will increase you inwardly. But it's a conditional statement. You must be grateful. If you can have taqwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises in the Quran that He Himself will teach you. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah Himself, He will teach you. فَاسْتَغْفِرُوا. We are asking for His forgiveness. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Astaghfirullah. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Ya ibadallah. Please, if you can move forward, closing the gaps. We have people standing in the back. You can move forward. Ya ibadallah, cultivate shukr. Cultivate it. It should be something that you do every day. Even the non-Muslims say, have an attitude of gratitude. You owe so much to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's who you are. And the correct response is to be grateful. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told us in the Quran that most of us, we won't be grateful. It's like a warning. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ. Mankind, in relationship to his Lord, he's surely ungrateful. And Rasulullah in the hadith recorded by Imam al-Tirmidhi, he sat with his companions one time and he said, should I tell you who is the Qanud? This one that Allah mentioned in the Quran. And they said, Allah wa Rasulahu a'lam. Allah and His Messenger, they know best. So then he said, it is the person, he eats alone. But he refuses others. And he oppresses those who are under him. This is the Qanud. So you cannot separate between you and the creation of Allah. You think you can only be grateful to Allah? You have to also be grateful to the creation of Allah. He's their maker. He created them. You have to be respectful of them too. So Rasulullah is saying this person eats alone because when he receives a ni'mah from Allah, he doesn't have the capacity to share it with others. And he refuses. So for example, someone comes to you, they've offended you, they've wronged you, they delayed payment, and you cannot find it in yourself to say, I have pardoned you. You can't find it in yourself. This is the Qanud. He is ungrateful. And then Rasulullah went on to say, he's oppressive to those under him. It might be your spouse. It might be your children. It might be your employees. It might be your students. And he's not able to be يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ حَوْنًا. He can't walk in a state of tranquility on the earth. He has to be disrespectful. He has to be loud and crude. And the only way out of that, ya ibadallah, is to be grateful. As far as humility is concerned, Rasulullah told us, whoever has even the slightest article, the slightest bit of arrogance in his heart, he will not enter Jannah. He will not enter Jannah. So a man said, Ya Rasulullah, but a man, he likes his clothes to be nice and his sandals to be new. And Rasulullah said, Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. Rather, arrogance is that you refuse to accept the truth and you consider people beneath you. That's arrogance. So the first test of humility is when you learn the truth and it contradicts what you might have believed, what your understanding was, what your attitude was. in deference to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you drop what is false. This is the first test. You want to know if you're humble? When the truth comes to you, how do you act? That's the first test. The second test is, how do you see others? How do you see them? Do you see them as beneath you? Can you give your enemies their rights? Your enemies. Can you still give your enemies their rights? You see them as beneath you? That's not humility. Can you accept the excuses of those who come to you and they ask, forgive me, have mercy on me, let me go this time? Can you do that? That's the test of humility. And in the Hikam of Ibn Ata'Allah al-Iskandari, he says, humility is not seeing yourself above what you have done. Rather, it is acting humbly. When you are acting humble, knowing that you are lower than the act. So think about it like this. You go and you pick up some trash. Maybe someone asks you to pick up some trash. But in your heart, you're saying, I'm not a trash man. See, that's not humility. Humility, because in actuality, what you're saying to yourself is that you're better than a trash man. You think so? You don't know. Maybe Allah, the trash man, has more honor with Allah than you. But rather, you place yourself below taking care of trash. Because if you know what's really hidden in your heart, your weaknesses and your defects, you will beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على خير خلقه أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا وشفيئنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما مباركا كثيرا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Ya Allah, we ask you for the best of this life, the best of the next life, and save us from the punishment of the fire. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات أحياء منهم والأموات. ربنا اغفر لنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا طاهر قلوبنا من كل وصف يباعدون عن مشاهدتك ومحبتك. Ya Allah, we ask you to purify our hearts of every characteristic that keeps us far away from you and from witnessing you. And Ya Allah, أصلح أحوال المسلمين في فلسطين. We ask you, Ya Allah, rectify the affairs of our brothers and sisters in Philistine. وفي السودان يا الله وفي كونغو يا الله وفي بنغلاديش يا الله وفي أفغانستان يا الله. Ya Allah, we ask you to rectify the affairs of all of the believers in these places. And Ya Allah, wherever they may suffer. And in Kashmir, Ya Allah, rectify their affair and replace their loss and their sorrow with something better than it. وَقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله على الصلاة على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Stay استقيموا إن شاء الله. Straighten the legs, fill in the gaps. Those of you that have children, please keep a tight grip on them so they don't disturb others when they're praying. Magnify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your hearts. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. جيد. السلام السلام. أشهد على سيدنا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أستغفر. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the khatib, bless all the beautiful men and women out here who have come to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Just quick reminder, the masjid needs your donations badly, inshallah ta'ala. So please, before you leave, if you can also check in with the QR code, or if you can stop by the kiosk or stop by one of the admin and do a monthly donation, just something that's palatable for you, such as $25 a month or something like that. It makes a huge difference if everybody in this room did that. It would begin to change a lot of things. Us too, we want to thank the Khatib for such a beautiful reminder about humility and gratitude and realizing the spiritual station that we need to be in for us to advance on this beautiful journey back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last but not least, I believe that we have the tafsir class on Sunday, inshallah ta'ala, from 11 to 1. If you have any questions or concerns, please ask the admin or myself as well. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla bless you. And also too, it's warm outside, so please make sure that you stay hydrated. Make sure that you realize that you're hydrated, especially if you're working outside. And please keep everybody in your dua. And this is a beautiful day, not only to read Surah Al-Kahf, but also to do abundant prayers upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and many spiritual and material benefits come from that reality. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla bless you.
and keep us in your dua. And also to, Sister Shamsan Nahar passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only elevate her and forgive her, but also to make her at the highest levels of Jannah next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for anybody who is sick or passed away, may Allah azza wa jalla forgive them and also to give them shifa if they're still living as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.